We've covered now values, we've covered duties, we've covered good habits, bad habits. So here's some things which sometimes we don't do in our marriage, which we should. Your marriage is the most important project in your life. It's two people coming together and having a vision of where they want to be and who they want to become. It's two people who come together and says, you know, we want to make our life together. We want to live as husband and wife for the rest of our lives. And we want to be able to accomplish X and Y and Z and so on. And so your marriage has to be this amazing place that you're trying to reach in terms of your marriage, all the different goals that you set. And in order for those to happen, you have to have at least a month, every month, sit down and review your marriage. How did we do? How are we doing this month? And in that review, you will discuss shortfalls. Well, you know, Wednesday, the sister will say to you, well, you know, on Wednesday at 10:47 and p.m. with 16 seconds on the clock, you said a bad thing to me, which really upset me. And then on Thursday at 5:40, she'll tell you the time and the exact minute when it happened. But that would be the moment when you will discuss these things and you will be able to point out the mistakes and shortfalls that each other make and be able to find ways of asking for forgiveness and planning again. This is the place where you will discuss the problems in the marriage and write them down and figure out how we're going to get past them. This is the place where you're going to discuss how successful we are with whatever we did and what we did well during the month. The monthly review is really a very important part of marriage, and very few people do it. Very few people in their marriages sit down once a month and talk about their marriage. They just allow it to happen and to be, and they get so involved in the life and the busyness of the dunya, and then before you know it, you know, they've lost track of why they were married in the first place. And so you don't want to do that. You want to grab wherever you are tonight, make a decision with your spouse. Once a month, we're going to sit and talk to each other and figure out how to make our marriages better. Number two, part of that monthly meeting too is your budget. Everyone should budget. This is just part of being a good Muslim, that you teach your money where to go before your money run off by itself. Money has a tendency to disappear into ways which we don't even know. That Starbucks coffee, that toll that you paid, it disappears so easily and you don't recognize it unless you're able to track it and tabulate it. And I recommend that you divide your money into six buckets. Number one, you will have some for pay bills. Number two, you have some to save. Number three, you have some to invest. You may not know what you want to invest it in. You may not have a business or anything, but you're putting money aside. Inshallah, we're going to be investing in something, because you want to be able to reach a place where the difference between rich people and poor people work for their money. Rich people, their money work for them. So you want to be able to have a way in which you're investing, in which your money is working while you're sleeping. Your money is working for you over time while you're doing nothing. You know, so invest is very important. You put aside some for that. Then you have to put aside some money to pay debt. You know, we don't want to die with debt, so we have to keep working on paying off those debts that we may have. And then most importantly, you must give some money for charity. When you do that, many things happen to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. That when you have taqwa and you pay charity, you give some money, then Allah will open all the things which was difficult for you before. He's going to make them easy to happen. So you'll find that exam you wanted to pass, suddenly said it's very easy. That bill you had to pay, suddenly you're finding money for it. That relationship that was so difficult, suddenly Allah says, when you spend in charity, the most reward in our religion is given for people who pay charity, even more than those who pray. Allah mentioned in the Quran 700 plus more. Wallahu yudda'ifu liman yasha, and he mentioned that I can increase that to my own discretion. When you give $1 in charity, you change something in the world, that person benefit. When you give $1 in charity, Allah returns it back to you with more. When you give $1 in charity, it's recorded and you see it on Yawm al-Qiyamah when you need it. When you give $1 in charity, Allah blesses the rest of your wealth. And so your wealth now, instead of being able to buy $10 of food, suddenly can buy $20 of food. And so many things happen. And then the last thing you must do with the money, there's a bucket called mad money, which is each of you must give yourself some money which you will do with it whatever you feel like. This is your personal money being given to you. You could burn it for all we care, but you get a chance, so you don't feel so constricted by the budget that you don't have any freedom or space to spend something on your own. So you must give each other something every month. Say, hey, this is your mad money and this is my mad money, and we spend it however we feel like. So when you have a marriage that is working with making sure you have the budget, then that is a big deal, and Allah will bless your wealth and cause you to prosper. The other part of that monthly planning is you have to put together some plans. So this month, for example, we'll call 3 relatives, or we'll visit this mom, or we will have some activities which we want to do. We'll go, take a picnic over here. So each month as you meet, you do your budget, you figure out what we did wrong, you make some nice, exciting plans for the new month. So you have now something to look forward to during the coming month. And then, what kind of meals we want to have during this week and that week and that week and so on. And then you also have to have a project greater than yourself in your marriage. In other words, whether it's saving the whale, whether it's building a well, whether it's sponsoring an orphan, whether it's something bigger than both of you. Because when you do that, what happens is you get to come together now as a team and to do that project. You change something in the world as a result of the two of you. And so instead of being at each other's throat all the time, now you're working as a collective group to change something in the world. And they have found that people who do that and take a project bigger than themselves, their marriages become more meaningful, their sense of purpose in life becomes more meaningful. They begin to feel a sense of happiness, that they have not been coming to the earth in vain, and that when they die, they have left nothing. They now have a legacy. They have made a difference. And so that's important. And also they recommend a sport. You should try to do one sport together, whether it's bowling or, sometimes the sisters don't have much sports to do, but try to find something that you can do for that. And so this is part of it. Now, the other part of this, which I'm going to talk about the next slide, if there are kids in the room, I would prefer they leave the room, because this is the adult portion of the discussion. So I'm going to pause for a moment, and if you have any young, inappropriate kids in the room, you could ask them to just leave for this moment. All right, and then we'll continue. All right, we have so much more to cover. We may have to do this in 2 sessions, but so the other very important part of marriage is sex. Now, it is really important to understand that if there's no sex happening in the marriage, it will affect your marriage. And so you must get the education about it and understand about sex. And usually if you have a young marriage, you want to do a lot of communication and you want to do a lot of experimentation. You have to be able to tell each other and experiment as much as you can and say, when we did this, I enjoyed it, so you can communicate. And you cannot settle on saying, okay, he's having fun or she's having fun, I'm okay. No, both of you need to enjoy sex. And you both have to find a way where you're navigating through experimentation and communication, where you arrive at a happy place where both of you are enjoying sex. Sex in a marriage is a very important part of marriage. When you don't have sex in the marriage, you begin to feel like roommates. You begin to feel distant from each other. And so it is really important that we ensure that we have healthy sexual relationships in our marriage, and you actually get rewarded for that. What is forbidden in our marriage is anal sex. We're not allowed to do that, but pretty much experiment with everything else and be able to make sex a very wonderful part of your marriage. So this is an important part. Now,